First, welcome to our AI in business, really, but AI in manufacturing webinar series. This is the first part of our series. Today, we're going to be showing you how businesses and manufacturers like you yourselves are saving real time with practical AI that's not just hype, but real tangible actions that can be obtained pretty quickly. So this webinar series, in this Chaos to Clarity webinar series on AI, we built this as a journey helping you go from your very first AI win all the way to production-ready agents working inside your ERP. In part one today, we'll be starting simple. In just 45 minutes, you'll be able to build your, or less probably, you'll be able to build your first AI assistant, hands-on, practical, and focused on saving you time on repetitive tasks. On October 25th, we'll kick off part two, which will take a step further and show you how to utilize Rover AI to connect directly into your ERP data. This means instant reports, insights without copying and pasting from spreadsheets. And finally, on December 3rd, we'll explore what happens when AI agents actually go to work, automating support, forecasting, even predictive maintenance. And we'll share real ROI stories from businesses who are already using it. So whether you join us for one session or all three, we hope that you'll see a clear path for bringing AI to your business in a way that's practical, secure, and results-driven. So my name is Corey Luckow. I'm the president of Zumasys. Joining me on this presentation is our newest member of Zumasys and implementation consultant, Tyler Hansen. Quick boundaries for today's session. Today's session is meant to be like a 101 course, which allows us to build up through the three-part series to establish a foundation that allows us to go deeper into this topic. And here is what we hope that you walk away from today's session. A simple way to think about AI, nothing overly technical, just a mental model that makes it click for you. Then we'll share a couple of short stories, success stories on how businesses like yours are already putting it into practice, especially it comes from Tyler's experience. Next, we'll go through the build framework. That's our step-by-step recipe for creating AI agents. And this is the secret sauce, really, that I think where people get stuck on. And so it's very key that you guys stay for that and take notes. And we're not just going to talk about it. Tyler's actually going to go ahead and build an assistant live here with us today and walk us through it. And then finally, we'll leave you with some clear next steps and resources so that when this session is over, you can take it and apply it and start and keep moving forward with AI in your own business. So quickly, an introduction on Zumasys. We're 40+ employees across the United States. We support over 150 manufacturing sites running Rover ERP. Our business is evenly split between SaaS and programming services in the PIC multi-value arena. This means we provide both reliable software and hands-on customization. Our executive team, Jennifer, Mike, and myself, lead this Zumasys team with our RAD values, responsibility, adaptability, and dedication. And those are three words that look after how we try to serve our customers and our community. So the opportunity. So here's the tone leaders are setting. AI is present wherever it can help. So this is a popular post or memo that went out for the CEO of Shopify, Toby Lutke. He shared a memo that made AI a baseline expectation in his corporation or in his business. Right alongside of what we're used to today, which is Microsoft Office, email, Excel, the message was clear that before hiring someone new, managers are expected to see if AI can help take on that work. Think of it as outsourcing that work to AI. The lesson isn't to replace people; it's to equip your people to do more with less. AI can step in for us on reporting, analysis, drafting emails or reports, or customer communication, freeing up your team for higher value work, which is usually human-to-human interaction. AI isn't just optional anymore, right? It's the new baseline. And Shopify is simply showing where the market is heading and where many others will follow. So the real question becomes, if AI is now the standard, what does getting started look like for a business? And that's exactly where we believe the build framework will help you get to that answer. All right, real quick pulse from the group. And let me switch here. Show of hands. How many, and I hope you guys know how to do that. If you don't, just use the chat. But how many of you are currently utilizing ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, anything in your organization today? Thank you all for sharing. That gives us just a good snapshot of kind of where everybody is at in their journey. And so now, to dive a little deeper and set the stage for how AI actually works in practice, I'd like to hand it over to Tyler, and he'll walk you through this mental model and how we utilize AI. Mute.
Mute. Every time. So if you didn't hear that, hi everyone. I'm Tyler Hansen, implementation consultant at Zumasys. But before joining Zumasys, I was director of technology for a plumbing and HVAC distributor, where I really got a chance to dive deep on AI and apply it to everyday situations. So before we get started, it's important to have an idea of, what is an AI assistant? And I think it's helpful to break it down kind of into 3 steps. So you have a prompt or a question, kind of a detailed question that goes into the model, or an LLM, you maybe have heard it called, that gives a response or an output. So you can almost think of it like a supercharged autocomplete that provides what it feels is the most useful answer based on existing training. So there's a lot of great models out there. Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. My advice to you is just pick one and get started. It really doesn't matter. What matters is the business context and the data that you're bringing to that model. So for today's demo, we're going to use ChatGPT. That's what I use to get started. Really easy platform to get up and going and get some results for your business. So another quick poll, and you can just drop it in chat. How many hours a week, ballpark, do you think your team spends on retyping data or analyzing reports, or do you not even have time to use the data that's available to you? And you can just drop in A for 0 to 2 hours, B for 3 to 5, C for 6 to 10, and D for don't have time to. All right. Yeah, so I see a couple of D's coming in there, and that's where I was at when I was working for that distribution company. Is we had all of this data available to us, and we did not have the time to take a look at it. So it's a really good idea to quantify that in the beginning, because then it's kind of a roadmap and just a pulse check to make sure that these assistants you're building are driving real results. All right, thanks everybody for hopping in on that. So we've all been vagged before, probably, at a restaurant or at home for dinner. You say, just surprise me, and the results are probably a little surprising. So AI is no different. On that step 1, the prompt, if you're not giving a very specific action or goal, the results probably won't be what you had in mind. So that's kind of what the build framework is designed for, is making sure that you end up with a prompt that is going to provide the results that you're looking for. And we're sharing this slide deck after the fact, so don't feel like you have to be jotting this down. And we'll also go into it a little more detail in the live build. So one other analogy that I think kind of helps people have that light bulb moment when dealing with assistants is AI agents are like new employees or outsourced workers. So treat them like the people you hire. Vague instructions are going to get less than desirable results. So it's a good way to look at it. And like I said, we're going to go into this in more detail in live build, but the build framework starts with a business goal. And then bring in your data and provide a little context around, what is or what are you trying to do with that data? And then instruct clearly. So this is kind of where you get to play manager. Remember, AI does best when it has clear instructions. So limit scope. And equally as important to telling AI what it should do, it's also very important to tell it what it should not do. And you can actually just copy and paste these guardrails into your own prompt, and it's going to work really well for report analyzers. And then deploy and iterate. And the most important part to this last step, in my opinion, is the iterate. So just like a new employee, you probably have monthly meetings with them to make sure they're staying on track. No different with an AI assistant. As you're monitoring that output, make adjustments to the prompt. And just kind of an example of the build framework in action from my prior job. So we had a coding process that took a lot of time and very few people in the company knew how to do. So I took this, applied the build framework to this problem, and was able to kind of extract that knowledge out of, those 1 to 2 guys' heads that maybe are going to be retiring in the next couple of years, and make that into an assistant that every customer service rep has access to. So these quotes were taking anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour to do, and they're now taking 5 to 10 minutes. So just to show you and give you kind of get those wheels turning on what you can do with these assistants. Okay, so wanted to kind of take a poll again, keep this interactive. Yes, real quick too. Corey makes a great point on uploading data. So especially when you're dealing with ChatGPT and not an enterprise account, it's important to remove PII or personal identifiable information. That's customers' addresses, things like that. Maybe just leave the customer ID in there so you can still have an idea, but just to protect your customers. Okay, so on to the live build. We have a couple of options to go through and build here. I kind of wanted to see which one you guys wanted to see. So we can build an executive sales report analyzer. That's going to be option 1. And again, just dropped in the chat. Or option 2, PO shortage reporter. Which one do you guys want to see get built live? Okay, we got a 1. Okay. Ooh, boy, it was close, but it's looking like PO shortage is coming out on top here. Okay, well, we're going to go with PO shortage spotter. So let me hop over here. Okay, so we actually went ahead and built a prompt optimizer to help you build these build frameworks. So we'll share that with everybody too, but it just kind of brings up a good point of use AI to build your prompts. You're going to get much better results that way, I've found. So I'm going to hop into the prompt optimizer in ChatGPT. And just say what I'm looking for here. And we'll give it some time. And while it's going through that, I just want to show you, just give you a lay of the land on ChatGPT if you aren't familiar with it. So you can go to chatgpt.com, get signed up. It's very simple. And then this is kind of what your home screen is going to look like. So you can start new chats, or you can create these kind of saved chats. You can think of them as a GPT. And we'll get into that a little more here shortly. So, okay. It's going to ask me for file headers here. So I'm just going to copy in the first row of my headers. And what it's going to do then is take these headers and try to auto map them for you. Once it loads here. And while that's loading too, so just to show you what you can do once this is built, I'll hop over to a GPT. And again, a GPT you can think of as a saved chat. To make one of those, you just click on GPT and create. So you hop over to this, and you just give that GPT a name. You can give it a description so it's easier to find later. And then the instructions is where you're going to put in your prompt that you get out of the prompt optimizer. So as you can see, this is very detailed, and it's a great example of the importance of getting specific. You're just going to get much better results with something like that. So that's what goes in the instructions, your prompt. And then on the recommended model. So similar to how I said earlier that a lot of these, there's a lot of different options for models. These companies themselves have a lot of different model options as well. So I would recommend just going with GPT-5. And then really important down here when building a report analyzer is these capabilities. So I would turn off web search. There's no need for it. We're analyzing our own data. You can leave Canvas on. It can be useful. Image generation, I would also turn off. And then really important because by default, this is turned off. So go ahead and turn on code interpreter and data analysis. And that's what allows it to actually look at your data. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, there we go. Not sure why it's being so slow, but okay, there we go. So it's going through auto mapping, and obviously very, very important to go through and make sure that these mappings make sense. Looks good to me. Okay, so it's just asking a few questions here. Answer them. Okay, and we should get a prompt that we can then go ahead and use. And you know, it's perfectly fine to, when it comes back with this prompt, to just go ahead and copy code here, make sure it's actually done generating yet, and go to a new chat and just use it kind of ad hoc like that. But I would recommend, so you don't have to do that setup every time, to actually go and create that GPT like we were looking at here. Okay, so there we go. Copy that code, go to a new chat, paste it in, go ahead and add my data. And this is all sample data that I just kind of created. The wheels, it's going to be more of a light bulb moment when you're looking at your own data. It's so cool to see what it uncovers and the patterns that it brings up in relation to things that you're very familiar with. So just keep that in mind. And while that's running, I just want to show kind of an example output of this. So this is something that I ran earlier, and I just asked it to, hey, group the at-risk items by vendor, and provide net available and things like that, or days to stock out. And what's great with these reports is you can talk with them. So once you've uploaded your data and your prompt, let's say you don't see a field in there that you'd want to see. You can just ask that assistant to add that field in, and then even better, ask the assistant to update your prompt. And what I'd really recommend doing with these prompts for your assistants is create a folder on your computer and save versions of those prompts. So you have your first version, you make some updates, save that as a second file in that folder. That allows you to kind of turn back things if things get a little out of whack. Yeah, so that is really the quick rundown of building an assistant. As you can see, it's can be a very simple process to get going on, and pretty painless. So like I said, I'd really encourage you to apply it to your own data and see what you come up with. Okay, and Corey says to another point to highlight, as you have successful results or previous examples, you can upload them to GPTs. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. So what Corey's saying there is, let's say you get an output from this that you really like, man, that's the answer I'm looking for. Upload that as a knowledge base. And then in your prompt, say, please review knowledge base for best examples. Okay, Craig asked, isn't there limits on the data uploaded? So I would imagine you're talking file size, and yes, there is. The file size that I did here was 5,000 rows, but it's much higher than that. I couldn't tell you an actual limit, but you can play around with some pretty large files, I have found.
I would try to limit it, because I know in the pick multi-value world, it like you don't necessarily want to load up maybe a year's worth, or maybe you want to start to kind of hone in on some of the the number of records that you're loading up there, because it is limited by the amount of tokens. It does have quite a few tokens, and they expand on that, which allows it to kind of bring into memory. So the more you can kind of specify, like in a 30-day, 90-day window, probably better to start with, rather than like analyze last 10 years of our business, unless you're going to specify it to like analyze 10 years based upon this customer or this part or something to that extent. But that's a great question, Craig. Yes, you should try to specify, just like if you're running a report on a system, if you said, give me everything, it's going to, your SQL server, your pick server, whatever, it probably is going to choke it. And so it's good to reduce the probability of hallucination by saying, okay, let's limit the data set that we're going to give it. All right. So everything we've shown you today is just the starting point, right? It was to build the foundation for the group. On the far left, what we've done is we've taken this manual work, or a lot of times what you see is the work that's inside one employee's head that constantly gets pulled into meetings or over to by new employees or by existing employees, because they're the only one that knows how to make that quote, or they're the best at making that quote. And so what we hope you can do is say, okay, let's sit down with this person, let's take notes, let's record the meeting of how they go through this process, take that transcript, put it, run it against this build framework in order to create this custom GPT, so we can take, Bob's brain basically on quoting and put it into a GPT and expose it to the rest of your team. And so starting from, identifying these recurring manual tasks, bringing them into GPTs that are just simple, cost-effective assistants, again, a base level, and where you can start to outsource some of that work, or from yourself or from Bob or whatever the case may be. But where the rubber starts to hit the road is where you connect your ERP data through Rover AI. And it starts to unlock the real business value where you're able to get live access to this data, secure access. You're not having to upload it. You're not having to export it. You're not having to pull reports. Like the data is automatically integrated, and the path doesn't end there, right? After, over time, these assistants evolve into these autonomous agents, and these systems don't just respond to prompts. It's not just a chat interface, but you can build out this autonomous workflow that starts to take on the action on your behalf, right? Just like a program would do. And that's the direction where the industry is heading, and it's probably closer than what a lot of you think. And so as we wrap up, I want to leave you with 2 clear next steps. The first is take our 3-minute AI readiness assessment. You can scan the QR code. You can hit that link. It will provide you, it's 3 minutes. It's some basic questions, but it helps to kind of give you a direction on where to go. And then if you want to, you can share that with us, and then we can follow up with a free pilot scoping call to talk about kind of what next steps would potentially look like, either whether you engage with us or you want to try to do it yourself. Second, don't wait to get hands-on. Download the build template with the link that we provide, along with this build prompt. Pick your messiest report and block 30 minutes tomorrow. And that's it. That's all it takes to build it, just like what we shared today. And whatever you start with, whether it's assessment or just trying to build your first assessment or assistant, the key is to take the first step now. If you don't start now, within 48 hours, if you allow that time to pass, you probably won't even do it. It's relatively inexpensive. I mean, so I went through the free version. I would pay for the paid for version. And I think they start around $20 a month, going up to $30, and then beyond with the pro and the heavy models. But start with the paid for version and build off of that. Our next session, which is on October 25th, so we'll be sending the invites out shortly, is kind of an evolution of this session. It's just live data, real results, intelligent reports with Rover AI. And this one, we're moving beyond just building GPTs. We'll start to show you how to connect AI directly to your ERP data in real time for reporting and insights, allowing your team to just have a superior knowledge, right? You're lifting up your team, you're setting up for success, whether they're in accounting or whether they're in production or whether they're in the warehouse, all over your business landscape. Like, you're giving them a leg up on your competition. So you won't want to miss it. So save the date, look for the email coming about for the registration. And everything we've shown you today around AI works even better when connected with the ERP, and that's exactly what Rover ERP is built for, bringing all those core pieces to your business together in one place. With Rover, you're not stitching together all these disconnected tools. You've got it in one system, and that's what gives you the live data. And with Rover AI layered on top of it, you get the insights and automation to go with it. And that brings us to the end of today's session. We've covered a lot. We've gone pretty quick, but I want to take the time now to open it up for questions. Amir, yeah, absolutely. We'll be sending out a link to today's reporting. And just so you guys know, again, I'll flip through this. We've got the Rover ERP YouTube channel. We've got videos about demo day. We've got videos about our masterclass, and then any kind of the presentations. Same thing, LinkedIn. Follow us on LinkedIn. Again, our blog posts, we're putting up content almost on a weekly basis, which then gets published through LinkedIn. Okay, Quentin, just clarifying, the data that you build agents with and give them a knowledge base, where does that data live? So it's a good question. Or if you're utilizing one of the LLMs, Mike, do you want to?
I was
Mike,
replying in chat actually, because he and Craig both have like similar questions. This is going to be different based off of the platform that you're using. So, I mean, we're happy because we use OpenAI a lot for stuff to supplement Rover AI. Happy to dig into that with you if you've got similar accounts. We've got the teams or organizations set up on OpenAI, and that's been really handy to just control things across the organization. But again, how each of these models operates is going to be different. So it does, that answer does depend on where you're at on that side. Obviously, we have an answer as it pertains to Rover AI, but that's not really the platform that we're pushing at the moment here in this conversation. We'll save that for the next one.
Okay, a lot of good questions. Quentin, follow up, also wondering how closely you follow the concerns about the data integrity of OpenAI. Several security incidents have come up that made us swing away from ChatGPT for other solutions.
Yep, I think these are good things. That between that, David's question, Craig's question, you start to, once you get comfortable in this spot or have some questions about using it at the general public tiers and even the paid tiers, this is where, like Craig's alluding to it, API access as the alternative way to talk to these LLMs becomes really important, because that allows you to generate tokens for your data without necessarily transitioning the data over into another platform. So when we get to the Rover AI conversation as an example, in that scenario, when you're using Rover AI, your data never leaves our platform. OpenAI doesn't have it on the other side. So because again, it's a thing that's going to be a different answer based off of the model that you're working with. It's good to be aware of security incidents and other stuff that might be in the news occurring within each of these platforms. There's a very rapidly developing environment at the moment as each of them pushes new iterations and changes pricing models and changes feature functionality and reacts to what's happening within their space based off their users. But I think some of what you guys are each saying, this is where we see the natural progression of the conversation, where you get to a certain point where you can do a lot with even paid access to the different LLMs, to the different models through their platforms. At a certain point, you want to go further with it, be able to control your security even more. And that's where these API integrations and supplemental platforms become really important, among other reasons, right?
And we'll continue to have this discussion and evolve on it, like I said, in the subsequent, second and third webinar. Right now, we're just trying to get everybody started if they haven't. And again, we utilize ChatGPT because it's probably the most popular LLM amongst the group. But again, whether it's Copilot or whether it's Claude, whatever the case may be, I mean, you can make your own decision on which one you pick, which one you feel the most comfortable with for your organization. But we just wanted to give probably the path of least resistance. So then I think David has a question. Is the AI reading the PO file? How does it know all the attributes?
Yeah, I think Tyler's got a good answer here. So, I mean, it ultimately, you consider it back to, just to add to what he's saying, right? Consider you're asking a fresh employee to go do the same analysis, right? They're going to, is it a good use of their time to try to self-discover the mapping, or is it a better use of their time to provide that instruction to them, right? So whether you generate that instruction through a couple of iterations with the GPT, like the one Tyler showed, to help you get to the right prompt that includes that information, or you're saying, hey, I've got a dictionary report for you that is devoid of any noise, right? I've cut out redundant dictionaries to avoid confusion. This spells out the schema for the record entirely for you. Use that to understand the data. These conversations, they always, in our experience, work better when you can set them up for success, right? Versus trying to take a shortcut, leave some information out, and just assume the AI is so intelligent that it's going to be able to figure it out for you. That just leaves the door open to too much error, same as it would if you're asking a new employee to do it. Or best case scenario, it does it, but it becomes expensive for it to do it because it's spending time generating tokens, wasting cycles, figuring stuff out that it could have been told to begin with, right? So you have to consider the economics of the conversation there too.
I think
If that makes sense.
2 points that we talk about, internally is number one, human in the loop. Make sure there's a human that is validating, just like you would with an employee. They would bring it to you. You make sure that it's okay. It's that, and then the next piece is trust but verify. You need to double check the work until you've trained it well enough so that it continues to output it at the level that you want. But you do need to make sure to put that time into it. The more time you put into it, the better output you're going to get out of it, just like you would an employee when you're training them. But there are occasions, just like with people, they don't have the best of days, but at least you can verify that. And then again, not like an employee, you can tell that do rerun that report or redo that work, an infinite amount of time, right? And it's not going to tell you no, it's not going to give you attitude or anything like that. It will just do it again. Any other questions?
I'll throw in real quick because we got a lot of devs in the group and pipe it up in the chat, but just on that side of things, right? This presentation today very oriented towards business users, but for the dev side too, I highly encourage everybody to check out the Anthropic models. We just have so much more success on the code side of things with Claude and its various iterations. But rather than signing up directly there or directly with GPT, like we use it all through GitHub Copilot. So what Microsoft and GitHub are doing on that side with GitHub Copilot and granting access to each of the LLMs has been fantastic. It allows us to keep the dev AI conversations predominantly fixated on Claude, but the thing about it at that point is because these things are changing day to day still, that flexibility of being able to say, oh, you know what, I'm just not having success with Claude today. Let me switch models real quick and work with GPT-5 or something to that extent. That's very powerful versus LLM lock-in and just being like, hey, the only one we're going to use is chat, and then just, we're going to deal with it whatever happens, right? So that flexibility is very big for us on the software development side of it. Business side of it, really, I mean, GPT has been great.
Yeah, and another real quick point to add on the prompt optimizer, because like we've been talking, one of the hardest steps is just getting started. So there's you can just say, get me the starter guide in the prompt optimizer, and it'll give you a list of ideas around production, inventory, scheduling, and just pick one, apply your data to it and see what happens, see what you like, see what you don't like. That's really just the biggest hurdle, is to get started. So,
and if you're not in manufacturing, just tell it, like, these don't apply to me. I'm in this business model. Give me ideas for this. That's the thing that we keep talking about, is just have a conversation and tell it what you want. And if you can get specific with it, and you can even ask it questions on how to get so specific with it, it will lead you to where you want to be.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, and QR code here is to my LinkedIn, also my email. I love talking about this stuff, so feel free to drop a question, or if you're working on something cool, share it with me. It's just fun to see what people are doing with AI. So,
and if you have ideas on what you would like us to show in the future, again, we're building this off of our interactions with our customers, with their prospects within the community. I mean, whether it's pick multi-value or whether it's manufacturing or distribution, I mean, share it. We'd love to collaborate on it, or at least bring it to the community to help try to solve problems that others are getting into. So take the assessment, download, or when we send out the link for the build framework, take the prompt and start utilizing it. But thank you everyone for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.